guys, welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I'm Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the brand new 2022 Jeep Renegade, courtesy of Stettler Dodge Jeep Ram in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so we are in this one today because it's been a couple years since I have reviewed the Renegade, so wanted to check it out again. This actually has a very affordable starting price point, right around the mid $20,000 range, and I'll be touching on the pricing here in a second. There is plenty of changes actually for the 2022 Renegade, including one major change, so I'll be going over those for you guys as well. And ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2022 Renegade. First one being the Sport, starting at $24,695, Latitude for $29,540, Altitude for $30,140, Red for $30,985, the Limited starts at $31,145, and lastly the Trailhawk starting at $31,340. And so for all trim levels but that first one, everything comes standard with four-wheel drive. But for that first trim level being the Sport, if you wanted to add all-wheel drive, simply add $1,400. Otherwise, that one is going to come with front-wheel drive. But here's the major change though for the 2022 Renegade. Previously, there has been a couple engine options available for this one. However, there is now one standard engine that comes on every single trim level across the board. And so, powering the little beast is a 1.3 liter turbocharged inline four-cylinder, putting out 177 horsepower at 5,700-ish RPM, 210 pound-feet of torque, coming in at right around 1,700 RPM. Power sent to the front wheels are all wheels through a 9-speed automatic. 0 to 60 time is going to come in at approximately 8.9 seconds. We'll be giving that a go here in a little bit, but MPG numbers for the Renegade come in at 24 in the city, 32 on the highway for the front-wheel drive, 23 in the city, then 29 on the highway for the all-wheel drive. And then if you were to go with that Trailhawk, it's going to lessen even more to 22 in the city, 27 then on the highway, taking regular unleaded fuel. But so that before we do any kind of fun acceleration here in our Renegade, I wanted to mention to you guys the drive modes. That drive mode buttons are located directly in front of the shifter. They will include auto, sport, sand and mud, snow, and then rock. If you go with the Trailhawk, that rock driving mode is only going to be for the Trailhawk, but essentially that's going to adjust things like the shift points, the throttle response, and the suspension settings then as well. And so now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the acceleration here to the test, and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2022 Jeep Renegade here up to speed. And here we go. There it is. Not bad. All right, it's not the quickest, okay, yeah, it's going. It's not the quickest thing in the world, but it'll certainly get you merged onto the highway without any issues. I mean, on paper, 0 to 60 in 8.9 seconds definitely isn't the quickest, and it's certainly no Hellcat, but it does its job. It'll get the job done. I'll just put it that way. And if you're driving a car like this, you're not going to be racing it on the track anyways. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So as expected, you will find four-wheel disc brakes coming standard on the Renegade. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that is going to come in at 126 feet, which is pretty average. It's pretty on point for the segment. As far as braking feel goes, it's actually really nice. I don't mind it. It kind of leans towards the firmer side of things, which you don't usually expect in SUVs. A lot of SUVs will have a softer braking feel, and it's less emotion, and it's boring, but honestly, the braking feel is really nice in the Renegade. I will say that. Again, it leans towards the firmer side of things, so it instantly brings me to a stop. So no issues there for me. And touching on suspension and handling, you will find a four-wheel independent suspension coming standard. But I do want to mention though, if you go with the Trailhawk, that is going to add a substantial bit to the suspension components, including, well, a front skid plate that's going to protect underneath, fuel tank skid plate, hill descent control, transfer case skid plate, and a transmission skid plate then as well. So Trailhawk is really built for off-roading. So all these skid plates is going to protect the undercarriage from being damaged, so you don't have to worry about that. So that is definitely pretty impressive. And overall, as far as ride quality goes, it's actually been decent. It's kind of pretty much as I expected, so it's certainly not a bad ride quality. It's not the very smoothest in the world, but it's pretty much as you would expect the Renegade to ride like. So no issues for me. As far as steering feel goes, That's really good, actually. I kind of expect, whenever I get into an SUV, I expect the steering feel to be super loosey-goosey and unemotional, but in this one, it kind of leans towards the heavier side of things. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, but it certainly leans towards the heavier side of things, which I personally like because it better helps you put you in the direction that you want to go. It gives the driver a little more confidence, in my personal opinion, I guess you could say. So no issues with the steering feel for me. As far as cabin noise goes, we're going a whopping 18 miles per hour right now, so you're probably not getting a whole lot of anything. But overall, cabin noise is pretty subdued, so I haven't had any issues there either. Then touching on visibility, I can see 100% perfectly fine out the back, and that's due in part because of the shape of the Renegade. The more boxy of the shape of an SUV, better visibility in the back you're going to have. Essentially, that's the way it works. So I can see perfectly fine out the back. I did want to also mention though, we have an optional package here today that gives us rain sensing windshield wipers and a ton of other things as well. But rain sensing windshield wipers is going to add to visibility as well. Essentially what that is whenever the Renegade detects any kind of mist or rainfall, it's going to automatically turn on those windshield wipers for you. So just one less thing you got to worry about there. And that actually comes standard on the Trailhawk, but we have it as an option here on our particular trim level here today. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2022 Jeep Renegade. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2022 Jeep Renegade, finished in Sting Gray Clear Coat. In case anybody was curious of our exterior color, I believe this is an optional color. It goes for $395 as well, by the way, but pretty darn good looking in my personal opinion. But as always, let's go ahead and start up front on the Renegade here. Of course, you have that iconic signature Jeep front grille, looks dang good up front. Of course, Jeep lettering found on the front hood. You guys can see that just above that front grille. To the sides, halogen headlights do come standard for all trim levels across the board. Automatic feature then coming with the latitude trim level and up, meaning when it starts to get dark at night, those headlights will turn on automatically then for you. Fog lights, again, coming with the latitude trim level and up. You guys can see those down below there. Daytime running lights will come standard on all trim levels across the board. And if you were to go with that Trailhawk, you will find two bright red tow hooks found in the front of this thing as well. So overall, actually a good looking front end. I'm actually a fan, but that pretty much rounds out the front end. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the side of the Renegade. So but now making our way to the side of this one, black roof rails will come standard for all trim levels across the board. Rear privacy glass also coming standard for all trim levels across the board. You will find some matte black window surrounds coming standard for all trim levels yet again. You will get some Renegade badging found on the front doors unless you go with the Trailhawk, because that's going to replace that Renegade badging with Trailhawk badging, of course. So that's pretty darn cool. Taking a look at the side mirrors, power adjustable gloss black side mirrors will come standard, but if you go with the latitude or altitude, typically you're going to get body colored side mirrors. So I wanted to mention that as well. Side mirrors will be heated, and integrated turn signals are going to come on the limited and Trailhawk trim levels. But then take a look at the wheel setup. They are going to differ pretty substantially dependent upon the trim level that you go with. 16-inch steel wheels coming with the Sport, 17-inch aluminum alloys coming with the Latitude and Trailhawk trims, 18-inch alloys coming with the Altitude and Limited, and then 19-inch granite painted aluminum alloys coming with the red trim level. And of course you have that matte black cladding surrounding the wheel wells as well as on the side skirts there too. But again, that pretty much rounds out the side. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back of the Renegade. And so but now, since we are around to the back, you will find a matte black antenna found all the way on the roof of this thing there. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Just below that, rear window wiper. You will get some trim level badging if you go with the Trailhawk trim. We don't have the Trailhawk, obviously, so don't have that there today. You will get the 4x4 badging though if you go with basically every single trim level but the Sport front wheel drive, obviously. Just below it all, you will find a gloss black kind of accent to that rear bumper, and then to the sides there you will get a single exhaust outlet tucked away. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. Alright, so but now since we are around to the back of the Renegade, when it comes to opening that rear tailgate, it is a manual tailgate for all trim levels across the board. There is a button, of course, on the tailgate itself, but once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 18.5 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, of course, those rear seats do fold down, bumping that then up to 50.8 cubic feet. Did want to also mention, though, in the cargo area, there is, of course, cargo lighting as expected, but also chrome-plated tie-down anchors. That was pretty cool. You do have some storage to the sides as well. There is actually grocery bag hooks back there as well. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you're going to actually find some compartmentalized in-floor storage, which I thought was super cool as well. So you never know when you're going to need like an ice scraper or a tire inflator kind of device back there. Words can't come to me right now, but plenty of storage space within the cargo floor is what I'm getting at. So that was pretty cool to find. Then making our way up to the rear legroom, that is going to come in at 35.1 inches. So for reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. Did want to also mention though that center portion, if you pull a little lever, it does fold down, giving you 2 cup holders for the middle if that center seat wasn't in use. Did want to also mention the rear passengers look forward. They're not just going to find a USB charging port, which is pretty cool in itself, but a 115 volt power outlet back there as well. That is very surprising to see, especially at this price point, and in SUVs in general, you typically don't get 115 volt power outlets. So that was pretty darn cool. But now let's go ahead and make our way up to the front seats here. Manually adjustable cloth seats do come standard. Heated seats coming with a limited trim level and up. 2-way power lumbar coming with a limited trim level and up. 8-way power adjustable driver's seat, again limited trim level and up. Did want to mention though, we do have an optional convenience group package. It goes for $1,595 on our altitude trim level that we have here today. And that does give us a ton of these things like power adjustable front seats, like the power lumbar as well, and plenty of other things as well. So we do have those power adjustable front seats, so that was pretty nice. Leather seating then is going to come with the limited trim level only, but overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was actually plenty fine, and I think the reason being was because we do have those power adjustable front seats and the power lumbar as well. So 100% did not have any issues with finding my perfect driving position, probably because of that. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel, because it's actually really nice. It is tilt and telescoping, manually adjustable of course, but leather wrapped, coming for the limited trim level and up, or if you go with that convenience group package, because we do have a leather wrap steering wheel with us here today, heated steering wheel also with the limited trim level and up. But the 10-2 grips are definitely bolstered on the thicker side of things, which I always appreciate. So definitely a very nice feel to this steering wheel in my personal opinion. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. You do have your Jeep logo on the one side of the key. Then when you flip it over, lock, unlock, and that ×2 button is going to be a remote start, which by the way comes on the latitude trim level and up. But overall, it is all keyless entry with a push button start for every single trim level across the board. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button, which is kind of located attached to the tilt and telescoping steering wheel column here. So wanted to mention that. But anyways, once started up, tachometer is all the way to your left. Speedometer is then all the way to your right. And there's a fairly large digital display front and center to control what is on that digital display. There are steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side of the steering wheel. It gives you things like a digital readout if you wanted to, your tire pressure information, of course, a cool picture of the Renegade front and center for your safety features. That's pretty cool. I like that. How many miles you have left to hit empty, of course, when you need your next oil change, radio information, and the list goes on. So pretty much everything you could possibly want on the digital portion of the gauge is up there. Now making our way to overall interior quality, there is a dual pane panoramic sunroof that is available for I think all trim levels but the Sport. We don't have that unfortunately today though, but ambient LED interior lighting coming with the latitude trim level and up. Don't have that today either, unfortunately. Dual zone climate control coming standard for all trim levels across the board. By the way, you can adjust that dual zone climate control with the infotainment screen, which we're going to get to here in a second. Overall, I like the little grab handle just above the passenger side glove box in typical Jeep fashion there. I like how these center air vents above the infotainment screen kind of pop out of the top portion here. That's pretty cool, nice little design element. There's tons of Easter eggs in this thing. I want to mention the speaker covers. They have little Jeep grills on them. I thought that was pretty darn cool as well. But just in front of the shifter here, you're going to find a decent amount of rubberized storage. There's an auxiliary port, USB charging port, 12 volt power outlet. Just behind the shifter, you got an electromechanical parking brake, a little place to put your cell phone, dual cup holders. And within the center armrest, although it's not that wide, it is pretty darn deep. So a decent amount of storage within that center armrest as well. But overall, it's finished more on the basic side of things, but I personally don't mind it. It's perfectly fine for me. But now let's go ahead and make our way to that infotainment screen, because this is pretty cool actually. 8.4-inch color touchscreen display comes standard for every single trim level across the board. That didn't used to be the case, so I like that. Bluetooth and audio streaming also coming standard. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, meaning you just hook your smartphone up to the Renegade via USB cable, and you got free navigation up there as well. And by the way, factory navigation system does come standard for every single trim level across the board. Didn't expect that either. That's pretty darn cool. Radio information, of course, you can check out up there as well. And so when it comes to the sound system, 6 speakers is going to come standard for every single trim level across the board. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. I gotta be honest, this one sounds like 6 speakers, so it's honestly, this isn't a huge SUV, so it probably will get the job done, but it's not the best sound system I've ever heard, but it'll get the job done, like I said. But anyways, last thing I want to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen is when you do put the Renegade in reverse, you will find a rear view camera actually taking up the entire screen, which you don't always get, so that's pretty nice. Certainly lets you know who or what is behind you. Not the most high definition rear view camera I've ever seen, but you'll still be able to see it. But anyways, that, as always, is going to lead us into safety. And so to start, front side curtain airbags do come standard. There is a driver's knee airbag up front as well. In the back, you're gonna have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, and blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert as well. Then if you were to go with the latitude and up, that is going to add to that an auto dimming rear view mirror then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the Renegade, fun Easter eggs throughout. That's one of my favorite parts. Jeep always tends to do that, and I love that. Even like the Jeep logos in the mirrors, that's pretty cool. Jeep grill logos on the speakers, like I was saying. So there's plenty of Jeep logos throughout this thing. Another thing is the Trailhawk, although we don't have it today. I did review the Renegade Trailhawk in the 2019 model year, and that thing is very off-road capable, not just because of all the transfer cases underneath to protect itself, but there's actually a decent amount of ground clearance, and there's some added suspension components to the Trailhawk as well. So that's definitely the one you're going to want to be at if you want to go off-roading in this particular Jeep. Also a decent starting price point, honestly. A mid $20,000 range is a good starting price point, although it does tend to get a good bit higher than that if you go with one of the upper trims, but still good starting price point there. As far as room for improvement goes, it does lack some of the advanced safety that I typically will find on its competitors, but so it depends on what you're looking for there, and I definitely wouldn't mind seeing a full digital gauge cluster up here like the new Volkswagen Taos, for example, as well. But overall, let me know what you guys think of the Renegade in the comment section below. And that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel after all. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.